But why wasn't that the move and all these things not so stressful for me? Because the minute my thoughts started going, I I knew that I didn't have to believe them, So that's really which changed the whole thing. And I noticed certain things about myself that in the past I would have never been able to do. Like I had a million boxes to unpack, and in the past I would have forced myself in a day to unpack everything because I don't like the feeling of being unsettled. And it's I still have boxes that are not unpacked, and I still have a lot of things that I have to do, and that would not have flown with me in the past. I would have had to get everything done like yesterday because I'm just that type of personality. But when you connect into your soul energy, you just realize you have all the time in the world. And honestly, it just doesn't bother me. So when you connect to this energy, you just start to notice, wow, that doesn't bother me anymore. I used to do things this way and that way, and I'm not doing them. So that's the gift. So if you want to know why it's so important to work on, letting go of your thoughts or not believing them or challenging them, that's the gift. The gift is that your life changes so much. And the way I used to do things was so stressful. I would have to get everything done in a day, and I couldn't even leave a dish in the sink. And, I was very, just really had to always be on top of things. And now I notice that, there's boxes all over the place. Things aren't perfect. And I don't feel very self-conscious about it even anymore. I had a friend stop by yesterday, and the place was a disaster. And I wanted to show her the house because I thought the house is so charming. And so I was like, just overlook all the mess and just look at the house. And in the past, I would have never in a million years done that. I just could never have done that. So going into your soul energy will change you so much, and you'll just be so surprised that the things that you used to think were so important become not important at all. And if they resonate as important, you can just challenge it. So anytime a stressful thought comes into my mind, I'm like, that's not true. That's not true. Why am I thinking that? Or I just say, oh, that's just my bad thinking again. Or I used to believe that about myself, and I don't believe that about myself anymore. So when you do that, when you don't take thoughts so seriously, they just kind of subside. You don't even have to let them go. They just kind of melt away. And, for the longest time when I was doing spiritual practices, I would almost like give myself a headache because I was trying to not think, because I thought, well, if I'm having all these negative thoughts, that's not right. That's not very spiritual. So I would try to, not think or push them down or to cover them up. And, but, connecting more to the soul, what I feel from the soul, what it tells me is that you'd love every thought that you have, every thought that arises within you. You can love it. Just don't believe it, So allow it to be there. Don't give yourself a headache. Allow your thoughts to be there. Write them down. And, sometimes when you write your thoughts down, and Byron Katie is a proponent of this, and she asks questions. But if you write your thoughts down, you can see how ridiculous they are. You could see what you're saying to yourself. So I've been doing that with my clients, where when they start really, giving themselves a hard time, I start writing down. I said, let's write down everything that you think about yourself. And then we go through everything that they think about themselves one by one, and really sit with it and really question and say, is this really true about you? Is this really, really true about you? And, when people really reflect on the thoughts that are coming into their minds, they can clearly see the things that they're thinking and then living their lives by is not true. The premises that we live our lives by are not true, which is really, really horrifying that we're all living our lives based on these faulty premises. But the good news is that we don't have to. But you have to be very, very invested, and you have to work very, very hard in not believing them, because they're so ingrained. They're just so ingrained in us. And it has taken me a while, and it's taken me opening up very dramatically into my soul energy to be able to do this for myself. but you can do it. And how people open up to it and get to it can be different for different people, and there's no pat way to do it. But I would just keep working on not believing your ego, not believing your thoughts, not taking them so seriously. So it would be like if someone that you really, really regard, comes up to you and starts telling you all these horrible things about you, and you really value their opinion, so you take it as true, and that really hurts you. It really, really hurts you, and that's what we do. So we really do respect ourselves and regard ourselves, and that's why it's hard to let go of. So when we say something to ourselves that's bad, we really do believe it. But so if we found out that this revered person that was coming up to us saying all these horrible things about us, we found out that they weren't true, that he was wrong, that even though he was so well regarded and smart and scholastic and all these great things, he was just wrong, we would be so relieved. It'd be like, oh, thank God, he was having a bad day and he said all these horrible things to me and he was wrong. So that's what we have to come to terms with. We have to come to terms with the fact that we're very wrong about ourselves, and then we can realize we're wrong about everybody else too, which can be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow, because a lot of people don't want to hear that, including me for a very long time. When I'm mad at people or when I'm having issues with people, I feel like I'm right. So it's very difficult to believe the fact that no matter what you're thinking about another person, if it's causing you any stress or pain, it's not true. It's just not true. So we're just all human, and we're all doing the best that we can, and we deserve to be cut some slack. So whatever somebody's doing to you, you're projecting what you're thinking that they're doing to you and why they're doing it to you. And it will always go into the theme of your thoughts. So if the theme of your thoughts is, they do this to me because, it's the way that I look, it'll always be that. They do this to me because I'm not good enough because I don't make enough money. They do this to me because I'm not pretty enough. They do this to me because I'm not thin enough. It'll always fit into your themes. So if you notice that, how can these themes always be right? So we have to always challenge that. Well, how can this always be right? This couldn't possibly be right all the time. So it's a really, really good realization to realize that this ego in you is just mistaken. It's just a mistaken person inside of you. And we want to love the ego and say, it's not your fault. This is your job, to perceive the world and to try to protect us. And so we're going to love the ego, and we're going to love our minds, and the way our minds, like a computer, absorbs everything, absorbs all the rules of the world, and tries to keep feeding it back to us to remind us, it's raining, be careful, you hate the rain isn't good. Our mind is just trying to help us. So we don't have to fight our mind so much. We can love our mind. But we have to always remember that if a thought is coming in that's stressing us out, or is putting us down, that we have gone off track someplace, that we have veered off the main road, and our soul, the energy that lives within, can help guide us back onto the right path. So we really, really want to ask our soul for that help, and the soul will give you the wisdom to know that anytime that you're talking about anybody else, it's no big deal. It's just another way that you're talking about yourself. You're just splitting it off. You're putting it on somebody else. So if you're ranting and raving about somebody else, it's just another form of ranting and raving about you. So that is a little bit easier for us to handle that, and to just realize, okay, I don't feel guilty for doing it to me. Why should I feel guilty for doing it for other people? But they're both a mistake. I shouldn't be ranting and raving towards myself, and I don't have to be ranting and raving towards other people. It's just it's a silly mistake. And if I catch myself doing that, it's okay. I've just made, an error in choosing to believe the ego instead of going into my soul energy. It's not something that we're punished for, and it's not something that's bad. It's just understandable living in this world. It's just that we don't have to, that we can let those thoughts go, and we can live in such a nicer environment within ourselves. And the more that you live in a nicer environment within you, your outside environment, even though it's a mess right now, is peaceful. It's very peaceful and content, and not a lot of pressure to get a lot done, And when you don't have that pressure that you have to get everything done in your life, then so much gets done. And it gets done, the process of life becomes so much more enjoyable. The process of moving was fun. Having my daughter help me, she was amazing in helping me and setting up the house, and my best friend Abby helping me and packing things up and unpacking things, and the movers that came, were so cute and helpful. All that became a joy and not a problem. And although things didn't go perfectly, there wasn't any angst. I didn't feel any angst, and I didn't feel any. I didn't have any of those bad feelings that I would normally have. That things have to be a certain way and be so perfect. So that's a big, big change for me. And as you connect more into your soul energy, you'll just notice those things about yourself. You'll notice how much your life is changing, and that's the beauty of doing this work. That's the beauty of remembering who you truly are. And some people have always remembered who they are, so they don't have to do this work. But for whatever reason, I learned the rules of the world so well that it took me a really long time to come to this myself. So that's why I like to talk about it, and I like to share it, because when I see people believing their thoughts and believing all the horrible things that they say about themselves on a continuous basis and what it does to them and how it affects their lives, I know what that feels like, and I know what it felt like to be there. And it's not fun. So I just hope you continue to work on not believing the ego, to accept all the thoughts that arise within you. But if the thoughts aren't loving and kind, you're in the ego and you're not in your soul energy. So that's really important. So let's do the exercise and the magic now. So we're up to exercise 8. And this is a really cute one. So basically what Rhonda suggests for us to do is every time we have something to eat, and we all love to eat and drink, is to take a little shaker, a sprinkle of magic gratitude dust. And you're going to sprinkle it in whatever you're drinking, and you're going to sprinkle it on your food today. And every time you sprinkle it on your food, you want to just savor your food and savor what you're drinking, and take a moment to just say thank you. Thank you for this food. Thank you for me having the ability to have this food and to be nourished and to take care of my body. So, sprinkle away on anything you eat. And when we go into gratitude, it's so easy to feel your soul energy. And that's why, I love this book, because it's an easy way to get into that energy. So today, anytime you eat anything, just take your sprinkler, your imaginary sprinkler, and sprinkle gratitude on whatever it is that you're eating. And say thank you. Say thank you for whatever it is that you're having, and really slow down and just enjoy and taste what you're eating and drinking. And it does really change, changes your, the quality of what you're eating, because most of the time we eat not in a mindful way. We're just eating to eat, and we're not really savoring it and really enjoying what we're eating, and we eat so fast. So sprinkle some gratitude dust on anything that you eat today or anything that you drink, and that will help you to get into your soul energy, and will quiet down that ego for a little bit. And that's very helpful. So continue to do all these things, and just continue to not believe the thoughts that arise within you. And if you do find yourself being set off by someone, triggered by someone, and you know you're absolutely right, that's okay. You just want to accept anything that the ego mind is feeding you. You just can question it, and you can say, well, is this really true about me? Is this really true about them? And just to realize that if you feel guilty about what you're feeling towards other people, you don't have to, because what you feel towards other people is another form of feeling it towards yourself, and you don't feel that way in general towards yourself. So they're both not the best thing that we do, to yell at ourselves and then to yell at the people in our lives. So what we want to do is say, all right, no more yelling. I'm gonna call a ceasefire. I'm not going to be that way towards myself, and I'm not going to be that way towards other people. And when I am, and when I do, because it will happen, because you can't do this overnight, that you're just going to ask your soul for help. Here I am doing it again. Here I am thinking the same thing again. Can you please help me? And the minute you ask for help is when you shift. You shift from the ego mind into something different. You go within. So look for that shift, but you have to realize that the things that you're thinking about yourself aren't true. Therefore, the things that you think about other people are not true. So then we don't really have to pay too much attention to our thoughts. So they become very much in the background. And once they're very much in the background, you get to live in a much present place. And in the present is really where you feel the soul energy. So give that a shot this week. As always, if you have any questions, you can email me at janismart40@yahoo.com. I'd love to hear from you, and have a beautiful day, and enjoy whatever the day's bringing you, whether it's rain, snow, or sunshine. We can sprinkle gratitude on it and enjoy it. And, we can live that day from that premise and not the premise of the ego. So always check in. Where are you living your day from? What premise are you living your day from? And also, no guilt. No guilt. The soul will say, you don't have to live in guilt. It's not necessary. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.